BBC Hooniverse.
Hello viewers and welcome back to today. Today we're shortly, briefly and very slowly talking about reunions. And what I mean by that is that this series, this version of Doctor Who from 60th anniversary till now, has been littered with reunions. So let's start off all the way back in the 60th anniversary. We obviously had the reunion between the Doctor and Donna, so David Tennant and Catherine Tate. That's one reunion. So that's David Tennant and Catherine Tate. That classes as one. Then we have our second reunion, which was the Doctor and Mel. So we have Bonnie Langford as Mel as one. So that is two reunions. And that's just the 60th anniversary specials. Obviously Kate Leslie Stewart, but she appears multiple times anyway, so unit's fine, that doesn't count. Then we move on to Series 14. In Series 14, we have the reunion of Sutek. And so, the reunion on that one is Sutek, because the Doctor has met Sutek before. The Doctor knows who Sutek is and what Sutek is capable of doing. So that one that counts. So let's recap. We've got the Doctor and Donna. We've got Mel. We've got Sutek. Who do we have next? Well, it's tricky because on the 60th anniversary we also had the Toymaker. So we had the Doctor, Donna, the Toymaker and Mel for the 60th. Then we have, for Series 14, we have Sutek. Now, the question is, what can improve, what can be different, what can be better? Oh, we also had Trinity Wells in the 60th, I think. Or was she in Series 14? I can't remember. She was in this series, so in Series 15 we've definitely got Trinity Wells. We've got the Rani. We've got... what else? So you've got the Rani. We've got Trinity Wells. I mean, the Doctor doesn't meet Trinity Wells really in any of the clips of any of the bits anyway. So, whilst that does technically count, I won't let's say reunion per se. So then we have Omega. Hopefully, it's a lot bigger return, a bigger reunion in Reality War, but at least it's a reunion of some sorts, which isn't a bad thing at all. Having returning characters isn't really bad. I just think that it doesn't always work so well. I hope that Omega's return is a lot more bombastic and a lot more visual next time, not just audios from the Big Finish Gallifrey series, which I don't mind. I just want to see him in the flesh for the next story, please, and thank you. And so, as we draw to a close this short video, I like to say that reunions for this are too many. If you're gonna say that, I would say that I'm happy with them, but I would also say that in series 16, 17, and 18, I just want traditional, new, exciting villains. I don't want any more returning characters for a while yet. That excludes Unit completely, because Unit, every time they return, they're bigger and better than they were the last time you saw them. So I don't mind them returning. It's just I want brand new villains. I want brand new angles on the franchise. I don't want returning characters anymore, because we've had that. And I think we just need to think of something fresh and brand new. The Well had a reunion, no like other. What I mean by that is that when you watched The Well, a villain returned with a new angle. So, returning of villains such as, let's say, the Daleks, right? Design change? No. Can they fly? Yes. Colour change? Yeah. But same essence of design. The Cybermen, it's one more thing. Same sort of design, you recognise that as the Cybermen immediately. The Ice Warrior, same sort of design, recognise immediately. Now, in Midnight, you did not see said creature. You knew it was there, and it had certain abilities. Now, even though, if you think of, so we were monkeys and chimps and apes, and we evolved. So you expect jumping 30 odd, 35, 50 odd million years in the future, you would expect a villain that was never killed off in its original run to get a complete makeover. And so that means that we've got a complete makeover for the villain in The Well to make the villain more powerful, to make him more deadly, and at the end of the day, make it more terrifying, because in The Well, you have Roseanne and Elias having the creature behind her. You have the bloke from Slow Horses in the background. You have all these selection of things that occur that ultimately make it more scary, make it more fascinating, and generally just make it more unique, if you will. Now, the element that we're going to discuss in this part of the video, if you're watching this as an omnibus, if you're not and you're watching this part 2, well, the microphone's about to die, so this might be a 3-parter situation. So, when you really look at the way that omnibuses generally work, it might be a 3-part of this. So, The Well, as a whole, I think worked incredibly well utilising the villain, the light died, I do apologise, worked really well at handling the villain, and really utilised its scariness of the fact that, yes, in Midnight we didn't see the villain, but now we're not going to see the villain again, but it'll be more powerful than it was previously, which, if you really think about it, that is a good thing, and that's what you want when you look at original villain and a new villain. So, the Cybermen were from an alternate universe, parallel universe, so it meant that, yes, it was fine that they looked different, because in that universe, they looked in a certain way. And I think that the more you have returning villains, you have to sort of like adapt, returning characters, if you will, but you have to sort of adapt the way you make them to make sure that it matches with the style of storytelling for this generation, for this time period. And if you really think about it, that could be, and that sometimes is, a very tricky way of working, and not everyone finds that easy, and some writers might struggle with certain characters. So Big Finish utilise this in a new way, because they don't have to worry about the visual, they just have to work about how the villain reacts in the world of audio. And I think if you really look carefully at it, you can sort of see why it is the way it is. But there you have it. This was a short video because in the first part, this is a short segment, sorry, because in the first part, which is, if you're watching the Omnibus, it's the earlier bit, I forgot to mention the well, and forgot to mention the Midnight Monster. So, we've now caught up in an essence of New Who, Russell T Davies, to stuff within the Reunion space, and because I wanted to make this video, this segment, a lot longer, but I didn't realise the microphone was going to die that soon on, I am going to make a third part to round off a last segment, if you're watching the Omnibus, to round off this saga and say, this is my overall opinion, and this is some of the returning characters that could return in the future, and here's what we've got to deal with as we lead up to the Reality War, which is the final of the 15th series. So, without further ado, enjoy the second part of the third part, of this Omnibus, if you're watching the Omnibus. But if you're not watching the Omnibus, hey guys watching, but enjoy the last part anyway. Either way, you're going to enjoy me talking about my round-off thoughts and how I feel that the Reality War will handle Omega, because that's our fight. That's our big reunion that we've not yet seen visually. We have heard in audio. So, how will Omega come across on screen? How will Omega be there? Who knows? But I think the Well did really well at Reunion in the Monster in a fresh and exciting way. Looking at the audience's opinions on these reunions, you think to yourself, right, that's not really the thing we're after. That's not really what we want. And some audience members are like, oh, let's not do reunions. Curse the people that cannot come up with non-original ideas. Oh, and I think, well, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be well worth it. And I always think that having a reunion, so what I mean by that is that bringing back a well-beloved character means, yeah, there might be some issues. Yes, it might not look anything like the original. Yes, it might be better design, but at least you bring them back. So, currently, as of the 29th of May 2021 at 7:21, we haven't yet seen what the new what's the word? Or the new Sea Devils look like. We saw them in 2022, 2023, no, 2022, 2021, with the Easter special, which is Legend of the Sea Devil, which is criticised as one of the worst episodes. I don't think there's moments in it that could have been done better, but I think the Sea Devil design was quite good, and having them back as a reunion to me is like, yes, thank you, because they were quite good the first time. They looked quite alright the second time, and the baby Sea Devil in the little, little teaser thing looked quite nice as well. So when you look at it overall, you're thinking, well, how can they redesign them any further? And after the final on the series finale on Saturday 31st of May at 6:50 PM UK time, we'll get to see how the new design looks, what they've done differently than they hadn't done before, how are they going to react, how are the fans going to talk about this, because Unit won't get a redesign any further, apart from with the odd dash-in and the odd cast member that hasn't been in the series yet, hasn't been in the main series, but will be in the spin-off, because they're they've been probably brought into unit for this job. But I don't think there's going to be that much corruption, that much uproar and anger over it. People aren't going to like it, but people don't. You don't have to like everything. The way that things work is that you don't have to like everything that everyone's liking. You can have your own opinion, and that's what's going to happen. People are going to have their own opinion, but knowing the way that the Doctor Who world works, they're probably going to be like, I want my opinion to be right. And that's not always the case. You can't always be the person with the right opinion, and that's not anyone's fault per se. That's just the way of the land, and yeah, yes, I can't help it. But I might like the design, I might not like the design. Who knows? But either way, that'll be my opinion, and I won't be right. My opinion's what I think. It's not what everyone thinks, right? So, I think that's what the issue is when you have returning villains and you have reunion, like the mass reunions and all these other big deals. You sort of then get a lot of people saying, they shouldn't have done that, and then not making it clear that people say, well, yes, I agree with your opinion, and they argue that their opinion's not right. So, I think if we have original characters for a whole series in Doctor Who, then I don't think personally we would have any of these issues that say issues of people being really angry that the design doesn't look right, like Sutek. People were confused why he now just looks like a giant dog, and they weren't too keen on the way he looked and all this and the other. Me personally, I was quite glad it was the original voice actor, and I didn't mind enough. I thought it looked quite good. I was just mainly gutted that Lucy Miller wasn't Sheridan Smith's Lucy Miller. It was just a random woman called Lucy Miller that had nothing to do with the Doctor. That was the bit that gutted me about that whole section, because having a Big Finish character return, it would make it more interesting. It would canonise Big Finish. I know that the canon's subjective and everyone has their own opinion, but the bits that are official canon that no one can argue with, I think should have been Lucy Miller, as in the Big Finish Lucy Miller should have brought in. I mean, Sheridan Smith probably was a little bit too busy to appear in Doctor Who due to the fact that she's very popular for a lot of drama, and people do take the mickey out of that, but at least she's getting work, and that's all that matters. She's working in the industry, and she's getting to be in it. I think that could have been a good reunion. That would have been a really nice thing, saying, look, Doctor, here's my mother, and they'll go, wow, it's you, Lucy Miller. And go, oh, you've changed your face, Doctor. And I think that would have been a sweet and interesting moment, but you can't really have everything that you sort of want within the show, because it's not how that would work. So, overall, as we get to the end of part 3 in this video, now if you're watching this Friday the 30th of May, you'll be watching an omnibus. Hello, this is the omnibus. Hello, I'm Tom from Thursday the 29th of May 2025 at 7:27 a.m. This is the third part, and this is the omnibus. I've got to, well, according to recording, the 9-minute mark, but that isn't right if you're watching this. If you're watching part 3, the separate video, and if you're watching the omnibus, it might be 14, 15, 82 minutes. Who knows? I do want to say, and I will say this again at the very, 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 very beginning of this omnibus, which will be recorded tomorrow. But I like to say that this will be for now, the final ever, well, for now, until the foreseeable future, there will be no more, and I repeat, no more omnibuses, right? I loved making omnibuses, but now I've made 8 omnibuses, so I need to stop. You know, there's a point to everything, there's a point at one point when you stop doing it. So 8's enough for me for now. But in the future, if I ever want to make more omnibuses, it's there. It's not goodbye for omnibuses, it's we're pausing omnibuses. So now that we've got to the point that this is an omnibus, really, if you really put all 3 parts together, unlike when I did the Master Omnibus, where none of the 3 parts fit, and I don't know why I called it Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. I even named a video the Master Part 4. It was nothing about it. It was about Doctor Who Confidential, which was really odd of me. I know, but we're here where we are, and we move on. So let's crack on to the end. Well, that has been a cracking Part 3. If you're watching a singular video, then that's been a cracking omnibus. If you're watching the overall omnibus edition. Now, the only people that are left doing omnibuses, it seems, are me and the Archers. So, yeah, I'm glad I kept that tradition alive. So, when you really look at Reunion, then you get to the full stop of it all. Yes, people aren't going to be happy with the way things are, but the only characters people now can be happy with is the Rarnit, due to regeneration, and the Master, because each time you meet the Master, it might be a different version. So I hope that Sacha Dhawan does return to the role of the Master at some point on TV, because he's going to be doing a cracking job on Big Finish. I've not heard it just yet, but I can't wait. So, there we have it. That has been Part 3 and the omnibus to this saga, all about the reunion. It's not the TV show Reunion, it's all about characters returning. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.